Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you've already been here, thank you for tuning in again. I appreciate you guys for your support. This video I wanted to put out here because there's always that hindsight 2020 if I knew, and these are the things that I wish. There are a few things that I wish I knew, but these are the top 10 things that I wish I knew before I had surgery for my first round. If you've already been here, you know that I don't do anything in any specific order. I kind of just like put them out there and go down the list that I have for myself. And hopefully that you guys can take advice, not necessarily advice, but take the tips that I'm here sharing. Tip number one I put out on my list is to know where you're staying in Dominican Republic. You want to know how far you are away from your clinic, how far you are from your doctors, how far you are from everything, because for my round one, I love my Airbnb, but at the same time, it took me like 25, 30, sometimes even 45 minutes to get to my doctor's appointments. Now, I didn't mind it, but if you're someone who's anal and want to be on time for things, I would suggest maybe finding something that's closer to your clinic or closer to your doctor. But for me, it was fine for me. But just make sure that you know where your surroundings are. As I spoke in my previous video, when you get your Airbnb, my Airbnb had 24-hour security, which was amazing. I really loved it. Yeah, it was just a little bit of a distance. I want to say with traffic, it was about 45 minutes. So make sure you know where your Airbnb is and where your location is. Also, if anything was to happen, make sure if you're traveling abroad, make sure that you send out your location where you are to someone else so they know exactly where you are. Next up on my list, I have Faja research. This was one of my biggest failures. I'm just going to put out there and say it from my round one. When I went to get my Faja, I went to, I believe it was called Casa de Colombia, and the lady literally, she said, "Come here." I walked up to her and she said, "Turn around." I turned around and she said, "Your size large," and they gave me a size large Faja, and I didn't know any better back then. If I would have knew 2020, I would have never went to that place. That place was terrible. So see if you could find maybe a Faja place that can either come to you to measure you customly for your Faja, or find a place that you can go to get your Faja custom made. But if someone just says turn around and look at you and says your size large, that's not a good Faja place for you. Tip number 3, I want to touch on the water in Dominican Republic. I did speak on it on my Instagram stories because someone asked me about it, but you have to be very careful with the water there. It is ecological, very different from the water that we use here in the States. You can shower in it before you have your surgery, but as far as like after and post-up, the entire time, you're going to be bird bathing. You're not going to want to let that water touch your wounds, because the moment that that water touches your incisions, you're liable for sepsis, you're liable for an infection, you're liable for everything that would make your surgery go downhill, make you regret and say, "Why did I do this from the start?" So what we did was we got gallons of water from the grocery store, and I'm going to vlog this once I'm there because my surgery is in just under 2 weeks. We got gallons of water. We also got cases of water, and we boiled it. After my surgery, I used the Uppbeat cleanse, which is in the before video of this with my supplies. We boiled the water, and if we were to wash dishes, we use the gallon water. If we were to brush your teeth, we either use Listerine or we use the gallon water. After your surgery, please, I beg you, please do not use that water at all, because your surgery will be pointless. You'll be having a whole waste of money. You won't be able to wear your Faja. You'll be visiting the doctors once you come back home, and things just won't be good at all. It won't be good. Tip number 4, I highly recommend that once you land in Dominican Republic, in the airport, you can exchange your currency. Get some Dominican pesos. Because once you're there aren't a lot of people who accept our cash because it's worth way more than theirs. You can use your debit card in the grocery stores, you can use your debit card at restaurants, but buying food at like a cart, don't give them cash. get pesos and give them pesos, because you won't get exact change back. You'll be giving them a huge tip. Now tipping, I'm gonna touch on that. Tipping you definitely want to do, but make sure you get some pesos. Tip number 5. For tip number 5, you want to get some Wi-Fi. See if your Airbnb has Wi-Fi, but once you're out of your Airbnb and you're traveling, you know, around the neighborhoods and to your clinic or to go see your doctor, you want to see if you can get Wi-Fi. At the airport, they do sell Wi-Fi cards. I didn't necessarily get a Wi-Fi card, but I suggest getting one. You can also call your cell phone provider and tell them that you're leaving the country, which is what I did, and they gave me like a plan for however many people was going to be with me. So all I did was call T-Mobile and I let them know that I was going to be out the country for how many days, and they set up a whole plan for me so I'll be able to use Wi-Fi outside. But I do recommend seeing if you can get a Wi-Fi card at the airport along when you get your pesos. Tip number 6, make sure you budget correctly. I had over an abundance of money when I went because I budgeted correctly. But when you budget, when you get there, 9 times out of 10 your quote won't be exactly what it was when you were quoted through WhatsApp. When you see your doctor, he may tell you that you need to add things on or take away things. It could be more, it could be less, but you want to make sure you budget correctly, because you're going to need to buy Faja, you're going to need to buy any extra stuff like food. Maybe you want to go out, maybe you want to travel to Boca Chica. Once you're back home, you definitely need to budget correctly, because that Faja that you're going to be wearing, it's going to shrink and shrink and shrink and shrink because your swelling is going down. I had a Faja altered by the Faja doctor, and I'm going to try to link them in this video. And I just have so many Fajas. Faja, I was in Faja life, and I keep saying Faja because Faja was life. But make sure you budget correctly for everything outside of your surgery. Tip number 7, when you're all ready to have your surgery for pre-op, it's all fine and dandy to reach out to others to see what they did to help them for pre-op. You can go on Facebook. As I've said before, Facebook is a good place for research. But everybody has a different doctor, and every doctor is different. So not only can you reach out to other people, but make sure that you reach out to your doctor to ask them what you need to do pre-op. Some doctors tell you to stop taking your vitamins a week before, some say 2 weeks before, some say stop drinking coffee 30 days before, but everybody is completely different. So make sure when it's getting closer up to your date, I want to say like a month before, start reaching out, whether it's the assistant, the doctor, whoever it is that you're in contact with, reach out to see what pre-op measures that you can take to make a smooth recovery. Tip number 8, once you're there and you exchange your currency and you have some pesos, keep your pesos. But as far as like your cash, make sure you get like some 1s and some 5s before you go here in the States, so you can tip everyone. You want to tip your nurse, you want to tip your masseuse, you want to tip your driver. You don't have to tip like every single time you get in the car and you get out. You don't have to tip for every single massage. You can even wait until the very end of your stay to tip. Maybe, I don't know, you want to do $50 for your driver, you want to do 100 for your nurse, or 100 for your masseuse. But make sure you tip everyone, because they don't make a lot of money, and our money is worth, as I said before, more than theirs, and they will be so grateful. They truly, truly, truly will love you if you tip. So don't be cheap and make sure you tip. My last tip for this video is on getting advice. I put my videos out there for suggestions and to help people, but by no way means necessary do you need to follow every single thing that I do. The things that I did made me comfortable and they helped me along my journey. Just be careful when you're getting advice from others, because everyone has a different body frame. Everyone has different goals in mind. Everyone has a different doctor who do different things and work on things differently. So when you're giving advice, still do your research, listen to your doctor. Just make sure that you're being very careful with the things that you're, following, because things might not be accurate for you. You might not have had like a tummy tuck, but you're following someone's journey who had a tummy tuck or something like that. So just make sure that when you're getting advice from certain people or suggestions from certain people, just make sure you take it in, but you also put your own comfortability towards it as well. My last tip is getting advice. When you get advice, just keep in mind that those that you're getting advice from, pause. I'm making my videos to give advice, but I'm also making videos for suggestions. You guys don't have to do everything, as I've said in my previous videos, everything that I do. You don't have to do it the same way I do it. You don't even have to go to the same places that I've gone to. I put my videos out there specifically to help you guys if you are unknown. I can tell you to get an Airbnb on the water, but really I just want you guys to go and look for an Airbnb that fits your needs. So that's the same with going with a doctor. When you get an advice from certain people, everyone has a different body frame, different body shape. They also want very different things. Some people want big old jugs that sit up high. Some people don't want implants, but yet they're giving you advice for you know, implants and stuff like that. It might not be something that you want. So when you're getting advice, just make sure you're careful and make sure you do your own research. Thank you guys for joining. Again, I truly appreciate all of you who have already subscribed. If you haven't, please share, like, and subscribe. And I see you guys in my next video. Thank you.